swords and sorcery setting, I don't think it's any secret that its unique flavor is steeped heavily in comics lore. It's absolutely saturated by the colorful themes and motifs that continually play out in the complex yet glorious universes inhabited by our favorite spandex-clad heroes.
You know what? This is refreshing because I like comics. Now I don't read comics like almost at all, but I like the comic book versus shows. I used to watch obviously comic book shows, and obviously there's films and all these other things, right? Like comic book games or comic book based games, Marvel, DC, and actually I follow a lot of people on stuff like Instagram, which are content creators that are now making their own comics. I like this type of stuff. And it makes sense why I'm into things like comics, Warcraft, even things like D&D and obviously Warhammer. Like Warhammer less so. I would love to jump into Warhammer. I don't have a big knowledge of Warhammer, but I know a very small amount. Things like Lord of the Rings as well. I feel like they're all interconnected. I feel like they're all... This is why my base is World of Warcraft. And then they've got a hint of almost all these different things. There's a hint of Lord of the Rings. There's a hint of Warhammer. There's a hint of comic books. It does fit. And obviously, World of Warcraft making their own stories in their own comics or novels or whatever they are, it makes way more sense.
I know. You might be wondering what magical broadswords and demon-forged fell reavers have to do with secret identities and skin-tight costumes.
Damn.
A few examples pop into mind. Chris goes on to talk about how Captain America was the inspiration for the vibe of Warcraft Paladins.
Yeah.
Alex Ross's mythical renderings of Superman in Kingdom Come and Justice influenced the Draenei's heroic poses and animation sets.
That makes sense.
The dreaming from Sandman and the green from the Swamp Thing helped shape the lore of the Emerald Dream.
Oh.
But the most impactful comic book inspiration for Warcraft was The Mighty Thor by Walt Simonson and Saul Buscema. He goes on to mention that the Burning Legion and Sargeras are just riffs off the demon Surtur and Muspelheim, and Thrall's Doomhammer is just heavily inspired by Mjolnir.
And Thor is known for being a one-handed, one-hammered weapon wielder majority of the time. Or he has the big axe. Right? Which is a two-hand. Now, there might be times where he wears both. But never in my life have I seen an enhancement shaman go, hey, we need to have two-hand or one-hand, and that is it. We don't dual wield. This is why enhancement shamans need to have one hand or two-handed weapons. No dual wield. This makes sense because of Thor. Thank you very much. And also,
the very foundation of Warcraft's lore is soaked in inspiration from comics, but the similarities between the two go even farther than that. Legacy comics develop into incredibly long-running mediums of storytelling. For these stories to be sustainable, they practically require resets for its story, or it will be suffocated in information that make them impossible to get into.
Are we going to have a World of Warcraft reset in lore? Are we going to do that?
For DC Universe, they implement entire resets to their universe.
I wouldn't mind that.
For Marvel, they section off their long-running narrative in story arcs created by specific writers. When a new arc starts, it's typically a great opportunity for new readers to pick up the series. And that right there is what WoW is working toward.